hell, mate. Fucking hell. Fucking hell, mate. Jeez.
And access to social media for all children under the age of 16.
Social media is only one aspect of the internet.
Britain just crossed a line. June 2026. Not with a new tax, not with a new crime law, but with a government standing at the doors of Downing Street and announcing that it will now decide what millions of young people are allowed to see, say, and scroll. On Monday the 15th of June, Prime Minister Keir Starmer stood at a press conference and declared that children under 16 will be banned from Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X. Not restricted, not age-gated with parental consent. Banned. And he warned the tech giants directly that if they resist, he will fight back. This is being sold to you as child protection, and we'll deal honestly with that because part of it is true. But here is what nobody is saying plainly. To lock millions of teenagers out of the internet, you have to build a system that checks the age of every single person who tries to get in. Every adult, every account, everyone. The under 16 ban is the headline. The machine they're building to enforce it is the real story, and it has a name that critics are already using, a digital lockdown for the entire country. But real quick, before we walk through exactly what was announced and what it will actually do to you, let's be honest about why the wider coverage feels so flat. The establishment press is reporting this as a feel-good win, a government finally doing something. What they're skating past is the mechanism, the precedent, and the surveillance architecture that comes with it. That's why we built British Front Media, to read the small print they won't. If you want the part of the story they leave out, subscribe now. Your subscription keeps this channel independent and unfiltered. Reason number 1, this is not a proposal or a consultation anymore. It's official, it's named, and it's coming. Let's be precise, because precision matters here. At Downing Street on the 15th of June, Starmer confirmed the ban will cover all the major platforms and that it is expected to be enforced by early 2027. Encrypted messaging apps like WhatsApp and Signal are exempt, as is YouTube Kids. The enforcement, he stressed, will be aimed at the tech companies, not the children themselves, with platforms that fail to take reasonable steps to keep under 16s out facing multi-million-pound fines. His reasoning was emotional and direct. He told reporters that every parent can see it with their own eyes, that social media is making children unhappy, and that he is not prepared to compromise on their safety. Now sit with the scale of this for a moment. This is the United Kingdom becoming one of the very first nations on Earth to lock an entire age group out of the platforms that define modern life. The decision followed a public consultation that drew 116,000 responses, the second highest in modern government history, with more than 90% backing an under 16 ban. So this isn't a fringe idea, it's a popular one. And that is exactly what makes it powerful and worth examining very carefully. Reason number 2, it does not stop at a ban, and the scope is quietly enormous. If this were simply a line in the sand at age 16, that would be one debate. But read what Starmer actually said he would do, because he openly stated he would go further than Australia, the country whose law this is modelled on. The government is also moving to prevent strangers from contacting children on gaming and live streaming platforms. It is looking at restricting children's access to adult content generated by AI. And here is where it gets broader than any headline admits. Ministers are actively considering overnight curfews and forced breaks in infinite scrolling for those under 18, not 16, 18. More detail is promised next month. Read that list again slowly. Curfews on when a teenager can be online. Government-mandated design changes to how apps are allowed to function. Rules reaching up to age 18. This is no longer a single rule about a single age. It is the state asserting the right to shape the architecture of the internet itself, how it scrolls, when it switches off, who is allowed to speak to whom. Whatever you think of the goal, that is a vast expansion of what a government claims authority over. And once that authority exists, the question is never whether it will be used again, it's where. Reason number 3, and here is the part they bury. To check children, you must check everyone. This is the heart of it, and it's the thing the cheerful coverage skips. There is no magic wand that identifies a 15-year-old and waves everyone else through. To prove someone is under 16, a platform has to verify the age of every single user who tries to access it. That means age verification technology applied across the board. Digital rights campaigners at the Open Rights Group have warned that the plan amounts to building a mass age verification system for the entire internet, creating serious risks to privacy, data protection, and freedom of expression. Other critics have been even blunter, warning the under 16 ban will inevitably lead to intrusive verification, a de facto digital ID for people over 16 too. As one campaigner put it, the British people have always rightly rejected mandatory ID schemes, and the technology lawyers agree on the trade-off, even if they don't share the alarm. The more effective the age check, the more sensitive personal data platforms and third-party verifiers must collect about you. Think about what that means in practice. To let your child be protected from a platform, you may have to hand over a face scan, a government ID, or a credit card to a private verification company just to log in yourself. The lockdown isn't aimed only at teenagers. The gate goes up in front of all of us. Reason number 4. And the irony is staggering because this government just rejected exactly this. Here's where it gets darker. This same government, this same year, looked at the idea of a centralized digital ID, a single mandatory identity system, and backed away from it after a furious public backlash over privacy. The plan to make digital ID mandatory for right-to-work checks was rolled back precisely because people did not want the state holding a master key to their identity. The public said no, loudly. And yet, what is an internet-wide age verification regime if not a digital ID system arriving through a different door? Rejected at the front, ushered in at the back. Wrapped this time in the language of protecting children, which is the one wrapper almost no politician can be seen to argue against. That's the move worth watching. When a measure the public has already refused reappears under a banner nobody dares oppose, you are not watching a debate about teenagers. You are watching how unpopular powers get built anyway. The same identity architecture, the same data collection, the same erosion of anonymity, now justified by an argument designed so that questioning the method sounds like questioning the motive. Reason number 5. And after all of that, the experts aren't even sure it will work. Here is the bitter punchline. For all the machinery, all the data collection, all the precedent being set, there is serious doubt it achieves the actual goal. The technology and child safety experts keep raising the same practical holes. VPNs, which hide a user's location, spiked in downloads in Australia before its ban even took effect, as users simply prepared to root around it. Borrowed accounts, shared family devices, and fake dates of birth all complicate enforcement. Starmer himself acknowledged some teenagers will find their way around it. Worse, the platforms warn it could backfire. YouTube cautioned that a blanket restriction could push children toward anonymous, less safe services. Meta argued bans risk isolating teenagers and driving them to unregulated alternatives. And a think tank focused on information policy warned that mandatory age verification could actually put some children at greater risk and exclude vulnerable groups from the internet entirely. So weigh the whole equation. A nationwide verification system gets built. Everyone's anonymity gets thinner. A digital ID arrives by the back door. And the determined teenager downloads a VPN and carries on regardless, pushed perhaps somewhere darker and harder to see. Maximum architecture, uncertain result. Reason number 6. And this is where we have to be honest, because the stakes on the other side are real too. It would be easy and dishonest to pretend this is pure cynicism and there is no genuine harm being addressed. There is. Esther Gay, whose 16-year-old daughter Brianna was murdered in 2023 by 2 teenagers who had accessed harmful content online, said this ban could potentially save so many children's lives, though she stressed it must come with other measures. The country's leading children's charity, the NSPCC, praised the government's ambition. More than 90% of consultation respondents wanted action. The fear that is driving this, the algorithms, the content, the strangers, the endless scroll engineered to hook a developing mind, is not invented. Many parents are genuinely desperate. So here's the real question, and it's not a comfortable one for either side. How do you protect children from a real danger without building a surveillance and identity system that the same public has already said it doesn't want? That is the actual debate, and it deserves better than a feel-good headline on one side and pure paranoia on the other. The danger to kids is real. The danger of a permanent internet-wide identity checkpoint is also real. Pretending either one away is the dishonest move. The thing to watch is whether the government can solve the first without quietly cementing the second.
From parents in the consultation has been absolutely clear. Thousands of parents say their children are addicted to social media. It can leave them trapped in a cycle of endless scrolling that displaces play, sleep, and time with the family.
Because once the verification architecture is built, history says it rarely gets torn down. It gets expanded. So here's where we stand in June 2026. The United Kingdom has officially announced a ban on under-16s across 6 of the world's biggest platforms, enforced by multi-million-pound fines, enforced by early 2027. The scope reaches further than any comparable country into curfews, scrolling design, AI content, and rules up to age 18. The only way to enforce it is to verify the age of every user, which critics warn is a mass identity system for the whole internet. A digital ID by another name, arriving the same year the public forced this government to drop one. And the experts are not even convinced it will stop the harm it's aimed at, while real grieving parents insist something has to change. Starmer says he is not prepared to compromise on the safety and happiness of children, and he means it. And millions of parents stand with him. But fine intentions are not the same as a clean mechanism. And the mechanism is the part being waved through. So here are the questions every adult in Britain deserves to sit with. If protecting children requires every adult to prove their identity to log on, who exactly is being locked down, and by whom? When a power the public already rejected returns wearing the one badge nobody dares challenge, what stops it being used for far more than teenagers? And once the gate is built and the data is flowing, who, in the history of any government anywhere, has ever voluntarily torn it back down? Because the ban is the headline, the lockdown is the architecture, and the hardest truth is that it's being built for the best possible reason, which is exactly what makes it so difficult to question and so important that someone does.